I gotta scream again. Hey, everybody. Is it Thursday yet? Why is the stream so... I'm on... Oh, this is terrible. I gotta scream again. This stream is so digity right now. Techno issues. Holy crap. I gotta... What in the world is going on here? This is... Low signal. Stable. All right, we're going to go to something else. I got to figure this out. Hold on, guys. This is ridiculous. I'll be back. Technical issues. I don't even know. Fairly good. Terrible. What is the world coming to? I don't know. This is life. This is our age. Crazy times. So let's see here. Kind of wait for a minute to kind of get started here. I don't, there's times where you're just like, what am I doing? This is one of those days. This has been one of those days to the T, and there has been 1,000 things that have gone wrong, and it's kind of how I feel right now. And I think as artists, we go through these ups and downs and highs and lows, and we feel this way, and I don't know. All right, well, these are just one of these days, I guess. I don't know how else to say it. Ugh. Suck a duck. Suck a duck. Let's see what else we can get going here. See if we can get something going here. Yeah, that's a terrible connection. That looks horrible. What do you do? Terrible. That looks horrible. What do you do? All right. Well, anyway, we'll figure out something here. First and foremost, I guess I just wanted to say that there's these things happen as far as like your life, just everything just goes a bit wild, and you have no idea like where to go, what to do, and the only thing I can say is that truly you just one foot in front of the other, and one step at a time, and you just do your best, give it your all, give it your 100%. And sometimes it just doesn't end up working out to be your 100%. And sometimes your 100% is like 50% or 40%, but you're giving it your all, And I think it's important that that's what we do. We give it our 100%. Even if that 100% at that moment is more like a 10%. But I think if there's anything this past year, it's been that, and that you just have to give it your all. I think the other thing is that, what else happened this week? Oh, I did a post on the bit about the Lord of the Rings, and like, it's so crazy because these goofballs, they have no idea what they're doing. So I don't know if I want to talk about Lord of the Rings per se today, but that happened earlier this week where I talked about that. The Last Colony Crowdfunding still going on. We are currently today, what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen here a bit, and we'll talk a bit about kind of the overall process with the overall goal of reaching that 7,000 mark. And if we reach that mark, what we'll do is this poster that I'll be demonstrating kind of the whole process through, I'll show everybody what that process looks like. That poster will be sent to everybody that has, regardless of what level you've joined in at, of course, the minimum that'll come with your comic book of the $30 mark. So you'll get this as your as a poster, and it'll be kind of your comic book size of your 6x10 thereabouts, and it'll be comic book size. And then we will send that out, and that will of course be your work to love and share and nurture. Oh, this feed stinks. I keep looking at it. I'm just like, oh geez, it's so bad. So I'm in a fairly where I live is a fairly small place, and I don't know, there's things outside of your control, right? So anyway, so the crowdfunding is currently, where one really cool thing is what we're at 1/3 backed, which is absolutely fantastic. And for everybody that has participated, absolutely, you guys are amazing. This type of project could not be done without you. And I think that kind of leads into the other subject that I really wanted to talk about too today, is that, one of the things that's happened with the comic book industry is that, well, for example, it's become this just Olympics of just like who can top the other person in terms of the wokeness, so social justice warrior, all that type of stuff. And it absolutely drives you bonkers to like, what in the world? This makes no sense. Why are we doing this? And there's a group of, one of the things that I'm really passionate about is that I want to know how to make the human form and illustrate it in a way that it communicates the story and all that type of stuff. But not only on top of that, if my work isn't reaching you, if my work, in other words, the work that I'm doing, if it doesn't, if you guys aren't happy, the ones backing this, the fans, all that sort of stuff, if you're not happy with the end product of the story, of the artwork, of the style, then I'm doing you guys a massive, massive disservice. Instead of, well, you need to like my story no matter what and take it or leave it. That's kind of the current mode with most comic book artists, I guess, coming out of like your Marvel or DC, and not all of them are this way. I know I'm not trying to do a blanket statement, but they're just, they're like my stuff. I'm going to preach to you. This is what you should like, and all that sort of stuff. And earlier this week, I read a quote from J.J.R. Tolkien about the ideas of escapism. He does a far better job than I think I can do right here. But just the idea that there are times in our lives we want to escape and get through hard things in our lives. And escaping is a way to get out of those moments where we're caught in a prison or caught in a mindset that doesn't free us from these crazy things happening. And that gets to why storytelling is so incredibly important. So really what I wanted to do today is just, I wanted to show as a part of that, you know what, this is about figuring out how to draw I want to geek out on drawing. How do I draw the face better? How do I illustrate the eyes better? Those types of things. Or how do I do a dynamic pose that communicates really cool action? But again, it goes back to the fact that if you guys don't feel like you have you don't like the end product, or you don't like the end work, or the style, or those types of things, then this is sort of a thing. This is for you guys. That's what best as I can try to say it. And I know I'm bumbling over my words and those types of things, but it's just sort of a thing that man, I don't know if we can do this with this low of quality. This is terrible. I look at this quality and it's sad. I wonder if there's, it's, it's just sad. So anyway, yikes. I wonder if, this stinks. I got one. Let's see here. It's just one of these things that like we what do you do, right? What do you do? Well, I'm going to draw and hang out. And if the internet sucks a duck, it sucks a duck. It's out of but again, like I was trying to say, this work is for you guys, and that's the mission of this. It has to communicate the because I want to draw well, and I want it to be something that you guys enjoy and are able to do the ideas of like what Tolkien was talking about with this whole idea of escaping. And there's the qualities finally getting there. Again, it's going to distract me. I'll show. I might as well just close the other window and scan it so I don't see how terrible this looks. All righty, here we go. I'm going to share my screen now. And let's see here. Yeah, thanks, Isha. I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is. Let's see here. I'm going to share my screen. And these times, the only thing to really do is to do cool artwork. Let's just do that. Let's just do that. So there we go. Let's do that. We're just going to hang out, and the world takes a dump, then it takes a dump on us. And we say, no. That's what we're going to do. I'm scratching. There we go. All righty. We're there. Let's see here. So one of the things that I wanted to do is so all the work that you see here, I did on, it's now uploaded to Photoshop, and I did it on, let's see here. Of course, your pen and paper and all that type of stuff. Some of this stuff here at the top, I did last week, and I added a few more. And I think I was talking about like doing the poster with, let's see here. it's just kind of like a star or some sort of thing. I kept going back to this sort of thing with the stripe. And I think I really need to go back to that. And one of the reasons that I need to go back to that is, I bring up another layer here. One of the reasons I went back to that is really just an over, kind of the idea of a colony. And of course the colonies, they all had their, the stripes on the flag, 13 original colonies. And that seems to be where that idea is kind of coming from, where you have this section right here kind of draped in that red, and that's certainly on the main cover, where I'm getting that from. And so it seems like I really need to keep sticking with that, keep holding to that theme a little bit. We might change that up at some point in time in the future, but for this poster and for this part of the chapter, that seems like the right choice to make, to put that up there. So I think I wanted to stick with that. But anyway, I did this all on just these are all, 8.5 by 11 here. And, you have your post, just, I don't know, your little thumbnails. You can do tons of these. I don't know if I basically, how many did I do here? 22. Yeah. Yeah, 22. So I did 22 here. You can certainly do more. And again, this is just to really show you guys a bit of the process, because I wanted to do it. One of the things that I'll end up doing is that I kind of work in these stages where I'll just kind of think in these sort of terms of like your how the space is organized, positive, negative space, right? So your negative space illustrated in this black, and then your positive space in this white area. I really didn't do that down here, but again, that's kind of the idea behind it. And it's just kind of a way to really see how everything's going to be organized. But the other thing that I want to point out here too is that the nice thing about doing it this way is I really just getting to know the subject matter. I think that's really the best way to saying that. And then from here, like you can kind of see here, I've blocked out a few that are like, okay, these are ones that I'm really kind of drawn to, or I keep coming back to. And I didn't necessarily like the idea of the star. It made it, I'm not against the idea of a patriotic thing or a theme. I'm more about the idea of communicating, going on to the next stage, or that last colony holding on. And a star symbolized just a sense of accomplishment, I guess. It didn't communicate that idea of one colony holding it together, so to speak. So kind of wanted to get away from that. I think the other thing I was messing with, like a circle, it spoke too much of other things. And again, I really wanted to get back to that idea of that last colony, or that concept of the last colony. So what I'll do here is, like I see, is that I've gone through and kind of sketched out a few ideas. This could be another possibility. Maybe the star does go back into it. But one of the things that I do is that I pick out my top view and I go through it again down here. And then the nice thing is you can see with some of these, the spacing really changed. And so nice thing about doing it all in Photoshop is then I can go in and I can move these things around, which I'll do here shortly. So yeah. And then throw out your comments and all that sort of good stuff, and we'll just kind of roll from there. Let's see what else. So that's really the research stage. We're going to kind of blend into the research stage with this part, and then blend it into the next stage, which is growing into the type pencils. Okay. So that's really the steps that we're looking at here. And it's just a process of getting to know the piece that we're working on. That's really about it. Let's see. I might do things a little bit fast, but just throw your comments, all that sort of stuff. I also, on my screen over here too, on one of my screens over here, I do have a bunch of pictures up. I'll kind of show you. So this is an example of one where you can kind of see I have, it just helps me to give some of that form. Right now, I'm just worried more about the form per se than I am actually the details. And so, for example, of some of those details, like his gun right here, I might end up getting a, maybe I want it in a different angle, or maybe I like how his head is here, and then I'll put a different body in. So you kind of mess around with some of those things. But then the other thing is maybe at some point in time, I need to get a 3D model, not actually use a 3D model. That helps kind of speed things up. And I can then mess around with some of it and change it up. That also makes sure if I do like a 3D model, it'll also help out with making sure that my perspective is correct. So that's one of the things that I'll end up doing. But I have several of these pictures up here on my other screen. So it just kind of gives me a point of reference to kind of work with. I also have, there's another one that I have up here too. So again, it just gives me kind of a point of reference. I don't have to use it as a point of a, you know, as far as like a, one of the things that really makes, if you're a, you know, in terms of where you are in your art skills and kind of giving yourself an audit, one of the things that you can actually do is that by doing this type of stuff, if you can use this as kind of a guide and then go through and change it up and all that sort of stuff, work a little bit more from imagination, it really goes a long ways to showing kind of where you are in your skill level in development. So in any case, I was kind of, so that's a really good question as far as like, that's so I have my kid helping me out. So she shows up as my name. This is actually my kid. So, this is not me asking it. But it's a legitimate question. So one of the things that I'm doing is that I think I'll try to get all the characters on here. I have to, I want to mess around with, I don't know, which one should I mess around with? I think, well, let's just kind of play around and find out. Cause I don't know. What I might do is I might go, I'm going to copy this layer. So I don't have to mess and see. So, what is it? It's not empty. There we go. So, all right, so we'll hide some of those other layers so we're not dealing with them. I think, let's do it this way. I do have, I don't know, this is just a list of all the colors that I end up using from time to time. This is kind of my color palette that I like to use. But anyway, I'll start with this blue pencil since it kind of matches this up here. And I'll just kind of roll with it. And I'm just eyeballing the, oh, that's your 17 by 11 size. I wonder how perfect that is. Let's see here. And Let's do this. Let's bump that down a little bit. First thing I want to do. Let's. And I know, and that's the other thing. I know these forms are like, what the heck is? They're hard. They don't read quite very well, but this will just give us a. Because one thing I see here, and when I look at this, is that I want, and I don't care if it goes off the edge at this point too. I want this to. I'm gonna bring my black up again. So the problem that so as you get it bigger, there's so many things that like it points out. This is supposed to be a knee and a leg. So one of the things that this points out is that I'm already seeing these. There's too much similarity between this and this and this in terms of size. And then, of course, it's almost where you split it down the half and you have this is almost too small. Oh, so you're getting kind of the same sizes of things. So what we could do, so let's do this. That's a little bit better. And then I do also want, I think with her, I do also want, because this is, I don't know, it's one of the hard things is that like you don't want it to be, this looks like you want it to look cool, not like a family photo. Everyone hates the family photos. Let's see here. Maybe. And I know it's one of these things where you look at it at this stage and like, looks terrible, but you're not, you're really more concerned with how to organize that information. And the more I look at this one, the more I'm just like, yeah, it's not quite working. It's just not quite working for me. Just fine. So what we're going to do is that we're actually going to make this smaller and we're going to put it off to the side. Let's look at this a little bit more. What we could also do is So it's on that layer. I think what we'll do. Well, I kind of want to. Let me see, Isha. Just my imagination from right now. I'm just looking more at the forms, but I'll use. I showed this earlier, but I'll use this type of stuff. This is just a sort of a guide. Oops, show the wrong screen. I'll use this type of stuff as just as a guide, but I don't necessarily will have that up the entire time because I really what I really want to do is I want to make sure I'm getting it all correctly in. I'm looking at the form really. I'm just looking how things are really organized is really what I'm after. I like the action of this dude wielding an axe here though. So maybe it's like that. Which means everyone else is gonna have to move. Let's try this. And so this is the other thing. You start going along, you're really starting to get messy here, but this is some dude with a gun. And I did like this dude. Almost as if he's sliding at the same time is kind of the idea here. And he's like peeking around a corner too. And one of the things I'm trying to do is show action. The more you get sort of this, where these sort of S's or these C's type of curves, the better you are. The better it's going to look is what I'm trying to say. And again, I'm not too picky, and maybe it needs to be more in this angle. So the gun needs to be facing almost towards you a little bit, towards the camera instead of off, because this person's almost going off. So there's more of a profile. And like that. Some sort of tomahawk. Be pretty cool. All right. Let's see here. This might be oops. Oops. Here. See, there we go. I have this thing right here. This is kind of my wizard for all things. And you have different presets for like Photoshop versus if I click over here, those types of things. Maybe. Really facing. then this. And then, and I think see here. So let's see if I do this a little bit differently. I'll see. So this is going to get a little wonky here, but that's okay. Because I really wanted to mess with his size. Could. I know I'm using tons of circles. That's just got how I roll. I don't know. Well, okay. Let's see here. I'm going to delete some of this stuff because it's getting kind of messy and distracting for me. And then I'm going to hide this stuff. There we go. And I'm just dealing with one thing right now. Braden, are you saying line or action? Sorry, I'm a little late, hiding away, working right here. I mean, line or action? What do you mean? Explain in the comments. As far as, well, line is, well, one thing is that, for example, when you draw the human figure, right, and you kind of start with that, and then you have the base right here, right? You don't start doing the arms. I mean, you can kind of give yourself reference points, but what you want to do is, this isn't, there we go. You got super long legs. Anyway, so one of the things that you have here is that you want the foundation first. And so that's kind of what you're doing. And so when you're drawing in a figure that is this guy. So what you're doing is that really you want when you're looking at references are a really good way to do this, but essentially if you have anytime you have a figure where you have the head and the body and you have the torso, right? Anytime you have those three things not aligned, you're automatically going to create action. So that's kind of the first rule of thumb. And then the next thing is that the body automatically, when you look at the arm or you look at just the whole figure as a whole, it actually is creating where you have this movement, then you have this movement, and it creates, and then you have this. So now he's almost running or he's falling, I guess. But you have this sort of back and forth. And this type of thing will create where then you're kind of worried about sort of the line. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying now. Sorry about that. So yeah, no. Yeah. Line of action. So yeah, what you're doing is that you'll put in the anatomy at some point in time, and that's where you're going to look at, but you still have to have that base of anatomy where you have, contrapposto, where you have the figure and you have the hips right here, right? And then the shoulders are going that opposite direction. You're still going to have, you have to be aware of those basics. You still have to have those types of things where like this line right here with him, and then you can do that, which is you can always kind of see me doing that with like these helicopter things, and the helicopters are almost doing that for us. So that's kind of the thought process. And so again, by doing that, where the head, the rib cage, and then even though I don't for this one, we'll kind of see where this goes, but for this one, you can see that the hip area, our eyes are automatically, so it's already off balance, if that makes sense. Which is kind of cool. But really, there's several artists that I think Matisse, if I'm saying that right, he does this sort of stuff a lot, where again you get these sort of flipping back and forth or see, and then that's how you create that balance off of that, and you can create tons of action off of that too. Let's see here. I think and I might not stick with this guy doing this much action. I don't know. That's just really a part of this process. You're just trying to figure it out. And I'm really scribbly at the beginning. I just it just what it does is it allows myself to really to make sure that I'm staying loose and I'm not committed to anything at this point in time. Because the other thing I think I want to do here is shoot, how do I think the other thing, maybe he's doing something right now where he's almost got a gun out, maybe? I don't know. And there's I got a little kid right here. I don't have to mess with that. This kind of came to mind. Maybe he's got a chainsaw right here. Maybe it's not an axe. Maybe it's more like a chainsaw. What is that? Evil Dead. There we go. Because the other thing is I want to do is I want to vary. I want to vary the sizes of these figures. I don't want. Let's do this. Yeah. Yeah, I think that might be something here because I'm looking at it this way too, where asymmetrically, right? Maybe there's something here too that I can. Because all this is really getting you to do is that okay, you start laying out okay, what characters are who, what are they doing, kind of back to the question earlier. But then you also have a lit. You start developing a list as far as like okay, maybe it's not a hatchet, more like a chainsaw. That would actually be kind of cool. Get more of that chainsaw looking thing going here. I don't know. I didn't. I didn't have chainsaw in the story, but I just maybe too much of a Jason thing going on. I don't know. Like married an axe murderer. Maybe that's better. I did. Thing that this you can see here again. This is just one way of doing it. I've seen artists they'll do thousands of these sketches, or they'll just kind of, and it takes so much unbelievable amount of practice, and maybe one thing instead of right there. Let's see what it does here. Only thing if I put it there is it makes it look like he's swatting at it. Oh, that's kind of cool. And maybe we can move her in the center. So I'm really wanting to put Gwen in the center. She is, even though she's such a centerpiece to the story. I really do want to find a way to put her in there. I'm back to this hatchet again. It's always too much for me. Maybe that would go. So I have thinking. Let me get this other character in here first. Because we might actually. We'll see. Let me see here. The other thing that I want to do, find some way of getting in the environment too. Hills, forest, buildings in the backgrounds. I don't know. Maybe that's a good one. Because I still like this idea of this flag being a stripe in the flag, the last colony. I don't know. What do you guys think of this? And even at this stage, I'm not really committed to much at all, other than, you can see here things start getting a little bit messy, and so that's start another layer and tone this one back. Actually, combine those, and then I'll tone this one back and kind of go at it again. It's really what I end up doing. What we could do, let me mess with this a little bit. I could show you this real quick. So one technique that I do from time to time is, instead of doing what I just did there, where, I'll keep it there. And then if you go up to image adjustment and hue and saturation, under colorize, I think it's 185. Saturation up full blast. And I think you can do like, I don't know, 95. You can see here it really tones it back. So that's one really simple way. See what that does. So yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit darker, but then you can use that as, okay, then you're dealing with an entirely different color, but you're still using it as kind of your overall guide. I want to see what it looks like if I make these guys bigger down here. Maybe let's move him over for a second. Let's move this up. Ooh. Maybe move her up a little bit too. The other thing that I could do, because this is a little kid and this is a tall guy, and I'm thinking this is a child here, and then this is supposed to be who are we talking about? Cobb. So that's the other thing I'll do, is I'll go through, is I'll kind of label some of these things. But the other thing maybe I could do is that maybe there's a group of people down here. I don't know. Now I'm using Weeble people, but it's really good reference points and that sort of thing. And maybe they just turn into buildings too, because we're dealing with urban situations. And I'll get like a full, even behind me. I don't know if you can see maybe on their side right there. You can see I have a figure there. I'll use that a lot to try to get these when I get to the anatomy part. Or like I said, I'll use like 3D references, like guns, to help me figure out what those are and what those look like. Because right now we're just figuring out the composition. That's all I'm doing right now at this kind of stage. I still like this. This is so cool. I'm kind of geeking out about this right here. I need Maybe that's dust kicking up right there. A little bit of a peek around the corner. And this guy over here. Yeah, I think so. Only thing is, looks like a bit of a space right there. I have to think about this right here, what this is. I don't know. We'll see. You can kind of see that S right there. Isn't there really a good example of that? I'm not. You can see her. I'm not. The other thing is like artists, comic artists, like, oh, you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna ink and all this sort of stuff, and you're really tracing. It's like no. You're each stage of the way. You're making like, okay, if it's not here, I need to move him a little bit more over. This is more of a shoulder. He's gonna backhand somebody almost. Oh man! And you see here too that maybe that's what maybe her shoulder right here is countering the extreme of this angle. Maybe that's not right. So that's the other thing. You find out what's going on, and I'm almost moving him back where he was because it created that energy. Those are funny looking. Oh, what do you guys think? I want to do here. Let me flip this, see what happens. See what that looks like. Yeah, me too. Over here. Yeah, I do too. I want to see if I can. There. The only thing is, oh, Yeah, I do too. Like having these buildings over here, buildings, rubble, some sort of thing. It's kind of want to say, Frank Frazetta. He like anything that was sort of this, anything that was kind of this type of composition. He was huge on that. Here, I'm gonna get rid of this. So I have it down here. Oh, wrong layer. All right. And I want to get this guy in. Which layer? Lost track of my layers here. Did I delete the wrong one? All right, let's go back then. There we are. Let's do this. Transform him. There we go. And then transform this layer. There we go. See how this looks. And some of this too, you really just have to. Oh, maybe that might be it. You really have to just, in some cases, just follow your instincts too. That might also be better. All right, let's close this all up and see what we get here. I'm going to add another layer and clean this up a little bit after all that craziness. I'll do it the cool guy way. Because we got to be cool people, right? Let's do. Oh, what are we doing? 85. There we go. Okay. Anything that's going to create that unbalance. You can see here the axe is almost doing that. It's that energy. He's a little bit more static. And that creating that balance, even if you look at it this way, and creating that balance. Or rather, should I say asymmetric balance. So I think that his hands underneath there. And then I think, so here's the thing, after going through all of this, and it's possible still not to be like, nah, it's just not working in the direction. And sometimes that's just, you're just doing this push and pull between it working or it's not working, or still feels like something's missing here. I was trying to fix that by flipping everything. And you just do this back and forth until, and maybe part of it too is the other thing that could be happening right now is that I might be hitting a saturation point in terms of, okay, I need to go back and go back to my previous sketches that I had up earlier. Let's kind of look at, yeah, because I feel like I'm losing stuff here. And so I'm gonna make this bigger. You're just doing this push and pull back and forth, until you feel like you have a composition that you can kind of work with. I just don't feel like that's it. And that just happens. Like I said, from the very beginning, this day has been a day for me. But you just, the best thing to do in these circumstances are things just like you need decisions and whatever's, it's okay. It really is okay. These things have to happen. I'll go back to this for a second. They have to happen, and they have to just, it just gives you a chance to really rework it and figure out the direction you ultimately want to go. And by doing, let me push that back up here, by doing stuff like this, and the more I look at this, the more I'm like, there's elements I like about it, but it's just not there. And maybe what you end up doing is maybe what you're doing is you're just problem solving through it. I'm kind of going back to this and leaving this out of it altogether, putting Gwen right here. I wanted a few extra characters though, and I didn't want to, if that looks too much like the cover to do something like that. Did like the helicopters in the center though. That kind of fixed the problem that was happening right here. Or at least I felt like it was happening right there. Let's try that right now before we call it a day. That's the other thing that's kind of funny about me is that I'll do all this type of work, and then the next day or sometime in the night or in the middle of me resting, I will end up figuring it out. Or I'll wake up tomorrow morning and it'll be, oh, I do this and I do this, and then it will it all sort of works out. Yeah, I think I need to stop messing with this one up here because it's getting too muddy for me. That's okay. Throw it over there. And maybe sometimes that's the other thing too. When you scale it up and down, it gives you a chance to really look at it in an entirely different way than what you thought you had looked at it before. It just gives you a different perspective on it. I'm gonna bring this one up real quick. So yeah, I guess today's live stream was all about seeing Elijah's struggle. From like the poor quality at the beginning to just I think, you know what, we have to struggle. We have to. Struggling's a good thing. We can't be afraid of it and like, oh, throw a tension tantrum and just throw your desk or God knows what. You want to struggling through these things is perfectly legitimate, and it's something that we all have to go through. And I think maybe this is what I want to do. I'm going to do this real quick. Is that the right layer? Okay. I'm going to do our cool thing here again. So you got a gripe at me? Oh. Well, let's try this. I did. There's so many of them, though. I mean, you have like the set, like let's see. I'm gonna bring you up, Isha. So I know what I'm referring to. No, I did. I liked. I don't know. I liked it draped down. It gave sort of the gravity or the fall sort of a thing. So I like that part of it. I like and that might be why I was looking at this right here, is I was looking at it from the perspective that, what I have this going on? I was looking at from the perspective that I think I have something else going on right here. Never ending, right? There we go. Okay. So I looked at this, and maybe that's why I like this so much, is that he was falling, or that stroke was falling in this kind of direction. And I don't know. So no, I had looked at it as far as like, because you have like your 1776 flag, you have your Betsy Ross flag. What other flags are there out there? Yeah, and maybe this is just sort of like on that one, because kind of one of the things I was thinking about long term is that with this I could put more of a some sort of pattern in the background in terms of to make it look like a flag. I don't know. These are folds. I don't know. Something like that. And I can use that and that's the other cool thing about Photoshop. When you start bringing in color, I can use some textures like a flag or those types of things to really bring in that idea that, okay, I'm dealing with a flag behind it. And I still can use like what I have back there, where you have sort of these watercolor marks and those types of things in the background too. So that's another idea too. Sunrise, not for this chapter. I know what you're saying though. And that was kind of, maybe that's kind of what I was almost going with this type of thing too. I keep coming back to this one. I'm going to tinker with this one a little bit before we call it a night, because, and I think you're onto something too. I don't disagree with it, but that's kind of one of the hard parts about this is like you're trying to problem solve. Well, okay, what is compositionally going to look good, but then on top of it, what's going to communicate our overall sunset sunrise? Tomato, right? The Last Colony sunset, but you're right. Oh my gosh. I want to. Just looking. I'm going to try this. There we go. I have no idea. Photoshop. What are you doing to me? My advice with Photoshop: know your keyboard shortcuts. Be a pro with your keyboard shortcuts. Here. Because maybe I have Gwen back here. It's kind of slouching there, it looks like. Or a beefy neck. Oh, shoot. Ooh. Ooh. I can tighten him up a little bit. I like my dude throwing his axe here. What can I say? I'm a Gimli guy. Go dwarves. Which that's the other funny thing about what's going on is like, oh, we want representation, but at the beginning, if you've read the books, you understand that yes, the elves and the dwarves were very racist against each other, but through the challenges and experience and all that sort of stuff, you have the opposite where they become brothers. And doesn't Gimli, he gets rewarded an opportunity to go across the waters with Legolas? Doesn't that happen? I think that does. Because of their friendship. Yeah, I think this is getting closer. Get that other knee in there so he's leaping. Mess with that a little bit more later. Maybe the other thing is too, and instead of having those copters there, I still, because it's this balance between showing what's next and where a little bit more of the story. Yeah, I think we're getting there. And I know this is really messy. So next time I see you guys a week from today, a couple of things that invite your friends, your family, anybody that you think would be interested in this. The other thing is that I will a week from today. This will be much further along, and I'll have a instead of me scribbling and seeing all my crazy scribbles and trying to discern what the heck am I drawing here. You'll see a little bit more information here, and I'm gonna so really this will do is that this kind of gives me a list of like, okay, because really I have 5 main characters. I don't want to show, I could, because there's the other thing is that maybe in between here I show a few of the other characters down here. That might be kind of cool. And then like we were saying earlier, showing the background, buildings, and those types of things, all that sort of stuff. But I also think that might be a really good spot. The other good spot might be right here. Kind of the populace. But so a couple of things I want to, yeah, send your invites, all that type of stuff to anyone that you think would be really interested in that. We'll be, we're hitting the marketing hard and finding new ways to reach out to people. And so we certainly need your help. Really cool news. Like I said at the beginning, we're 1/3 of the way there on the time frame, and then we're also 1/3 of the way in terms of funded. So right now we're sitting at a really good spot in terms of our pacing goes. So that's really good news. And the other thing is that like I said, I'll have this further along next week. Next time you see this will be in a much better spot. And I'll keep tinkering with it. And like I said, these things happen where you're going to struggle from one. Just some days you shake your heads and just, but we have to work through these struggles. They're massive opportunities to grow and to discover who we are and what we're going to be about and all that type of stuff. Because the thing of it is that it's through the struggles that really define us. And that was today for me. So like I said, share this far and wide. You know, the thumbs up and all that sort of stuff. It's certainly helpful for the YouTube algorithm, but this is really the whole purpose about doing this type of stuff and finding ways to connect with you guys is trying to directly connect with you guys. And this work is all about your input, not just not just this poster, but the comic book, the whole thing, my artwork. It's all about connecting with you guys and finding ways to connect with you guys. And if ultimately, in the end of the day, if you guys don't like the work, I didn't do my job. I think that is absolutely the truth. And that is 100% my passion about the work. And one of the things of why I continue to strive to get better at illustrating and doing the human figure and all that type of stuff. So I think, let me put that up real quick. I will have in the, I think it's in the comments section, if it isn't already. Yeah, it's in the comment section. Let me find it here. This this is the link that to get those that want to be a part of the crowdfund, and there's all sorts of really cool rewards there. The couple things that I wanted to do is, one is, last week someone had mentioned a supply list. I will post that up tomorrow. So that's one of the things I want to post on the blog at Elijah Loving. That will happen tomorrow. And earlier this week, I posted up on the blog a list of all the music that has helped inspire this, which is pretty cool. So check that out as well. And it's basically links all to the blog, basically, or links to YouTube. There you go. They're all links to YouTube, or where it's actually sourced and where it's actually copyrighted. So thought that was the best way to share that. So you can, I think, we have one of my favorite songs of all time is Muse. I won't play it here, but let's see if I can share my screen here to that. I want to, let me bring that up real quick. There we go. I'm going to share this so you guys can see it a little bit better, so it's not so tiny. I can. Here we go. So there we go. So under the blog, and really how I'm treating this blog is, I really want to treat it just as it is with, what do you call it? I wanted to treat the blog as kind of like Patreon, all the content and that type of stuff. So it's just really how I want to treat this. And then, yeah, here's the music section. So there you go. Muse, Knights of Sidonia. Awesome video. Awesome music video. Back when music videos were amazing. Now they're just trash. But this music video, it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So anyway, and then of course, under patron is you guys, and just kind of seeing where we're at here. And yeah, so like I said, the other thing I want to do is we'll be posting up a new video. I hope to do that next week. We will kind of see how that goes. And then we have all these really cool rewards and just opportunities to really help, not only help out the project, but then you get really cool things. All of the works, even from the very beginning, I'll sign the copy of the comic book from one comic book to 2 comic books with the 50. And then also you get an ash can with that, the printed ash can. And of course, will all be mailed to you. And then there's also the really cool steps, which is where, if you're doing this is awesome, is that I email you the works that you have access to. So we'll do that. And it's basically a list of a first come, first serve, but you'll have access to which artwork of the original artwork from the inked version that you want to, we'll send that to you, along with 2 copies and an ash can. This one goes with the this work right here. So the 2 limited signed ones, that's these character arts, which is Gwen here. And then we also have, do I have Cobb up here? Or excuse me, not Cobb, Jamie. So I have Jamie right here too. So those are those 2. And then this one is the original cover art for this right here. And then the last one is, I'm amazed. That'll be awesome. Is the last one is, of course, you get all the comic books and all that sort of stuff. But the other thing is that I will actually be running this process right here with you, which is basically working on the poster that everyone will get access to. But this one will be an individualized on one just for you guys. So just for the one person that does, or a few people, 3 people that contribute to that. So yeah, that's all I have today. Thanks for hanging out. You guys are awesome. Regardless of whatever struggles you're going through, fight through it. That has been this day for me, but that's what we do. We do it together, and we're going to fight through it together. And that's the cool part. And I think that also the important theme to the Last Colony. I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your day. Thank goodness it's Friday. Are we going to call Friday? We don't have to wait till midnight. It's Friday right now. Have an excellent rest of your day. Excellent rest of your Memorial weekend. And we will see you guys later. Bye, guys.